Record.
What is up? What is up? And welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt. And as always, we got some MMA to talk, some beer to drink. I got with me Cody again today. Normally we're side by side. I forgot to fix that before this. Can I fix it now?
You just want to restart?
No, we're not going to restart. We'll just fix it real quick. Um, let's see here. There we go. Should be side by side now. So, sorry about that. We are back, though, talking about UFC Fight Night. We're back in the Apex. Cannonier taking on Gregory, Robocop, Rodrigues. Hell of a fight. Hell of a fight night. Not a lot at stake here. That's kind of been the trend for February. It seems a lot of fun fights, not a lot at stake, though. And we're keeping that going with this fight. And, it's a co-main event. Yousseff Zelal taking on Calvin Kattar. Fun fight. But like I said, not a lot at stakes yet. Cody, welcome back. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Matt. Just coming off of a Super Bowl Sunday, where I did very well betting against the Philadelphia Eagles, because I just knew nobody wanted Mahomes to get it this time around. But other than that, I've been well. Work's been well. Life's been well. I can't complain. Even if I did, nobody would listen. How about you, my brother? How you been?
Oh, life's been good. Life's been well. 11 straight weeks of UFC, it treats me well. So we're going to jump into this card in a sec. Real quick, coming off last week, I was up 660 from the card. So that puts us at a positive 1365 year to date on our $1,000 bets. Cody, you were up 139, so that puts you at plus 539 plus 539 year to date on your bets. So we're rolling along. I'm etching my lead out just a bit, but we're still both positive, so we're doing good there. We're not losing money. Now, before we get into this, we're going to recap a little bit of UFC Saudi Arabia. Obviously, Israel Adesanya knocked out by Nasruddin Imavov, and that division is a little clogged up with Duplessis beating Sean Strickland. The following week, and then we had the fight I want to talk about: Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. So Weili goes out there, dominates her, out wrestles her, out cardios her, out strikes her, does everything, beats her up. Nothing you can really say. This woman's been completely dominant as a strawweight. So what I want to ask, because she's ran through this division. First, where do you rank Zhang Weili in the GOAT conversation for strawweight at this point?
At this point, I don't think there's any other debate than putting her at number one. Because of just the domination. She's 26-3 in mixed martial arts. Um, we've seen over the last couple years now, she's coming into fights, dominating her pace. Like you said, she's out striking, she's out staminaing, she's taking her opponents to the ground. While they're on the ground, she's literally taking them out of the fight. I mean, it's her against everybody. I mean, and everybody has no shot in the strawweight division right now. Um, there was a couple. I mean, if you want to go in the past, you had Joanna Jedrick. She
Getting great.
finished. Yeah. I'm not very good with them
No,
last
you're
names.
good. Her name's crazy.
It is, dude. But she finished 16-5 in her career. She hasn't fought, I don't think, since what, 22, 23?
Yeah, since that knockout loss to Zhang.
Yeah, and she was on it. Now she's on a two-fight loss streak. But I mean, she would have been the GOAT in the strawweight division for me. But Zhang Wei Li right now, I mean, that lady's not even in the conversation. I mean, Zhang Wei Li is just dominating at every force, and I think honestly at this point she might have to go up to 125.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into our next question. I rank her number one as well. I had a little bit of a confliction with this because Rose Namajunas did beat Zhang Wei Li twice. Rose Namajunas also a two-time champion. She's got a very stacked resume at 115. But ultimately, I came away with the way Zhang Wei Li's winning and the way she's continued this streak and she's continued to get better. She's put away everybody not named Rose Namajunas. She's put away. She's beat. She's dominated. So, Rose Namajunas, she is a lot of people's GOAT at 115, and she's beat Zhang twice. But I think what Zhang has done at this point is has outweighed her 2 losses to Rose and what Rose has done upon beating her those 2 times. So you look at Rose's resume. She's beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice. She's got a knockout. She's got a decision. She's beat Jessica Andrade. She's defeated Zhang Weili twice. And then I think there's another defense. That might be all her defenses.
I think that is all her defenses. Yeah, now that I can remember.
But absolutely phenomenal record. And she lost the title, came back and won it. But then she loses it to Carla Esparza. And you look at Zhang Weili, she is undefeated in the UFC. She steamrolls Jessica Andrade to get the title. And then she goes up against Rose Namajunas. Rose head kicks her, knocks her out. So what's Weili do? She comes back. She stacks up a couple wins. She gets back in the title shot. Goes against Jędrzejczyk, absolute war, and then she comes away with the win. Goes against Rose again, loses that fight by decision. So she's in a weird place. She fights Jędrzejczyk again, spinning back fist knockout, highlight reel knockout over one of the top 3 strawweights of all time. And then after that, she goes, dominates Carla Esparza, finishes her. Yan Xiaonan dominates. Amanda Lemos dominates. Tatiana Suarez dominates. She's just dominating everybody. I don't think you could put Virna Jandiroba up against her because Jandiroba has done her part, but Zhang Weili's just head and shoulders above everybody right now with her explosiveness, her cardio, her ability to sprawl, reverse the wrestling positions, her jiu-jitsu. Everything's just on point. So I don't think anybody's beating Zhang Weili at this point. I think she's number 1 pound for pound across all weight classes for women. Over Shevchenko, over Kayla Harrison, over all of them right now. Because with what you see her do, nobody's even putting up a fight against her. You know, Shevchenko's had some close fights. Kayla Harrison's had some tough moments. Zhang Weili, other than Rose Namajunas, has not really faced any adversity. She had a moment against Yan Xiaonan, but it wasn't anything significant. You know, she comes back, she gets the absolute dominating victory. So with that being said, you said you think she needs to move up to 125. I do as well. So how do you think she matches up with Valentina Shevchenko?
I think she matches up well. I mean, she's only an inch shorter. I think she only has an inch, maybe an inch and a half less of a reach. But to be honest with you, with Zhang Weili, that has not mattered over her last few fights. I feel as if she can get into the fight with Valentina Shevchenko, I feel if she can get into that fight and do what she's been doing and controlling her pace and taking over the fight just against the cage, just striking, pointing, and then going to the ground when needing, getting your points on the takedown, and then just holding the ground game. I mean, her ground game has just grown immensely, and that's what's been amazing to sit here and watch for in her growth and Matt, I agree with you. I think she might be the most pound for pound number 1 fighter in the women's division, and maybe top 6 in all of UFC, top 7. If you want to look at an overall record right now, she's looking unreal. Yeah. But if that were to happen in just say 2025, I think that just could be the fight of the year across all women's divisions. I mean, I know Kayla Harrison coming up would be an insane battle, but
I don't think it'll be a battle with Harrison. I think she dominates Pena. Pena sucks.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that on this.
We'll wait. What's your thoughts on it, though?
So, yeah, I agree. It would be a really fun matchup. Valentina only has an inch in height. She has a 3-inch reach advantage. I think that early on it would be tough for Weili. It would really depend. Weili's scrambling ability, and she never stops moving on the ground. She's always fighting to get up. It's exhausting. And someone as seasoned as Valentina, even, I think that would exhaust her if they were to go up head to head. And I think she could tire her out by round 3, round 4, and really start to dominate the wrestling. Kickboxing, it would be close. That she's got to watch out for Valentina's head kick, but Valentina has been slowing down. We've seen she's gonna look like a much bigger fighter because she's the natural flyweight. Yeah, natural flyweight.
Naturally flyweight. Yeah,
she's fought at bantamweight before as well, so she's the larger fighter. just naturally. But Whaley's so active. I think just that little Energizer bunny in her, that would be tough. That would be tough for Valentina to deal with, and it would be a really fun fight. But we could also see Valentina just strong woman her, hold her down, and out wrestle her because you don't know how Whaley's power transfers. But she has been hitting the weights. She looks just shredded, but she's very compact. She doesn't have a big reach, so it'd be a really interesting fight. I think I'd favor Valentina, but if it happens sooner rather than later, if they shelf Manon Fiorot and they put Zhang Weili in, I think it favors Zhang Weili. She's got the momentum off this win, this absolutely dominant win. If you wait until like September or October later in the year, I think that's better for Valentina because the hype dies down, the excitement dies down, all the noise dies down. Valentina gets rattled by the noise. It doesn't affect her performances so much, but it might in this. I mean, with Alexa Grasso, she got rattled by all the talk that people were doing. So, with that being said, I think that it depends on when it happens, but I think Zhang Weili has a really good chance in that fight. Regardless, I just favor her more if it were to happen by June or July at the latest.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Because if it happens, maybe my thing was at the latest August. Because if it gets into the fall months, into the winter months, like you said, the hype's going to die down, and then eventually the progression and the momentum for Zhang Weili is going to eventually die down because she's going to need to stay in the octagon. She's going to need to stay on the cards. She's going to just need to be in the. She's going to need to be in the sport, just like every other athlete. They need to be in it to get the reps in to keep
Right.
the
She
momentum
hasn't
rolling.
been super active lately, so
No. So
but
if you're right, if like a July 4th special would be amazing for it. But that's just living in a perfect world.
yeah. So with her not being active, there have been news that they were planning on her fighting the winner of Shevchenko Grasso, but it just took so long to play out that she went to the UFC and was like, I want Suarez. So she's been beefing up. That's why she hasn't been super active lately. So that's she might be ready for it. In that activity, she might have just been super active in the gym. She's not like taking a vacation. She's a UFC champion, and you can tell this is her job. She looks like she's a machine. She's the female Marab. So we'll move on from that though. I thought UFC 312 for the most part sucked ass. Main event kind of sucked. It was real uneventful. If you look at the numbers, it looked okay, but Dricus won it. It was a lot of Sean would have a moment, Dricus would have two. Sean would have a moment, Dricus would have two type of thing. So sucked as a fight, but
Yeah, the score predicted everything. I mean, it not predicted. It showed everything that you just talked about.
right. So we'll move on to this card. And as always, we started with Cody. What fight are you most looking forward to? What's the most anticipated fight on this card for you?
To me personally, it's Gordon versus Ruzabov. Because this is for Ruzabov's first fight in the UFC. It's a prelim fight. Um, and he's coming in on a short notice due to an injury. So one, he's a Yucastanian just freak. He's a younger brother of another UFC fighter. He's a Rubizan, I think his name is.
Yeah, I know Ruzabek, Uzabor.
Ruzabek.
Yeah, Ruzabek. Yeah.
Um, and he's got an unbelievable fight record. Fighting in just like open fighting championships and LEF and things like that. So I mean, it's nice to see him finally on the UFC stage in Vegas. I'm most excited for him just because I think he's a freak. Personally, watching his tapes and things like that, and we're going to see a lot of great things. I hope he maybe gets another fight with Dana here in the future. Another one, obviously, I'm excited for is the main event. I
Yeah,
think that's just going to be a striking battle. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
I think
I think Robocop's going to come out here and just freaking just doing his thing. But uh, Cannonier, you just can't dismiss him at being at 40 years old. I know he's 40, but he's still
well,
got it.
we'll break that card
We'll
down.
break that. I don't want to talk too much into it.
Yeah, we'll get into that after just a couple more questions here. But yeah, fight I'm most pumped for Khaos Williams versus Gabriel Bonfim. But I want to backpedal real quick. Ruzaboyev. So Ruzaboyev has this insane record, right? You look at the record, it's worse than Khabib's before joining the UFC. It's insane. I did not look at the younger brother, but I was shocked to see him as an underdog at first, and then I was like, wait, Ruza Boy, and I was like, oh, that's why he's an underdog, because these dudes have not had tough fights. They haven't had fights that put them through the grinder, and that's a good call by you that it's going to be a good fight, because Jared Gordon grinds you out. He puts you up against the cage, grinds you, tires you out. So that'll be a fun, kind of grueling fight. I think both guys will get bloody. Both guys will get messed up. We'll see wrestling from both guys. I think that'll be fun. But yeah, Khaos Williams versus Gabriel Bonfim, the better of the Bonfim brothers. Gabriel 16-1. He's a great striker, and he had Eastman. Yeah, Gabriel's the better. Great striker, has nasty chokes. He can lock the choke up from anywhere. And Khaos Williams, knockout artist. Dude has dynamite in his hands. He connects with you. You go to sleep. So both guys are kind of first round fighters. Khaos has a better gas tank, I think. So
I agree with you there.
I just think it's going to be a fun fight, though. They're both going to come out swinging, and if you swing with Khaos, it's not good news for you, because he's a brawler, he's a marauder, he's going to knock you out.
Dude, his accuracy is insane too. On top of that, I mean, he doesn't miss, and plus he's got really good striking defense.
Yeah, and Bonfim, he's wild. He throws super crazy strikes, flying knees, everything. So it's going to be a super entertaining fight. But final question before we move on to the main event or the main card breakdown. We got 13 fights on this card. The over-under was insane last time. I think there was one finish on the card or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were way off. But what do you do? I said under, so I guess I wasn't. But 13 fights, over-under 4.5 finishes.
I got over this week. I'm gonna stick with it. That's a lot of fights, man, and there's a lot of fireworks in these fights. We got the heavyweight matchup. That's definitely bound to be a TKO. There's another fight we're gonna break down. The Delgado fight. I think that can go either way. Who knows? That could be a KO. You know, that could be a finish. There's a couple fights with the submission studs. You know, we got to watch out for that. So I think out of 13 fights, 5 out of 13, that's at what, like a 40, maybe a 38% clip. You know, I feel like it could happen.
Yeah, I the more I think about it, the more I regret this, but I wrote it on paper, so I'm going to stand by my gut, because something told me when I was looking at it a little earlier that I was right. I'm going under. I think it should have a lot of finishes. I think we're going to see a lot of competitive matchups. I think Khaos Williams will finish. I think that Cannonier versus Robocop, I think that gets finished with Robocop. I think that Yousseff Zelal could get a finish, but I think a lot of these fights might be kind of donkey, kind of people just looking sloppy, looking like they're not top 15 guys, because it's not a ton of top 15 guys on the card. And that's not a problem. There's still going to be fun fights. Jared Gordon's a fun-ass fighter. He can also put on a boring fight, though, and he can also gruel. He's awesome for decisions.
Yeah, he's a scorekeeper's best friend, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, loses a lot of splits, but yeah. So under, over. So we're gonna go main card breakdown. We're gonna start with the main event on this one. We got 40-year-old Jared Cannonier taking on 32-year-old Robocop. Robocop's got some miles on him, but he's 6'3", taking on Cannonier's 5'11", and Cannonier he has a big frame. He used to fight at heavyweight. But Cannonier has a 2.5-inch reach advantage, which looks good on paper, but when you're 6'3", that kind of negates that reach advantage. Robocop, this dude's a marauder. He's not super technical on the feet, but he's super powerful. He has a ton of knockouts on his record. His only loss is a first-round knockout to Bruno Ferreira, who also just blows people up with his punches.
Oh, beast.
Yeah, absolute savage. So that's his only recent loss, only finish to his loss record, and he's finished guys like Chidi and Jokuwani, Brad Tavares. I think he's a stud, hits hard as shit, and when it goes to the ground, he's a savage on the ground. He's got submissions, he's got ground and pound. His top control is nasty. He's just he balances his hips so well. He gets to mount so easily. I think this is his fight to lose. If he can beat Cannonier, he has a shot to fight for the title in the next 2 or 3 years. He's still young for 185. And Cannonier, he's coming off of 2 losses. He's a very technical fighter. He's got a good gas tank. We could see him drown Rodrigues in the later rounds with pressure on strikes, trying to just jab him from the outside. But I really think it's going to be Rodrigues that beats him up early, gets an early finish, and kind of writes Jared Cannonier off into the sunset. He's a great fighter, fun fighter, but he hasn't been the same lately. He wasn't even the same when he fought Israel Adesanya. They've been trying to push this guy to the title for so long. I remember
No,
back.
it's been almost a half a decade now. It's been almost a half a decade trying to push him for a title.
Yeah, I mean, he lost to Robert Whitaker, and then they pushed him along. He fought Izzy. He finally got to Izzy after beating Sean Strickland in a controversial split decision. Could have gone either way. It was kind of a boring fight, a Strickland fight. But he wins that fight, fights Adesanya, gets dominated in a boring fight. He just doesn't have that killer instinct that people think or that people portray him to have. He does have, excuse me, explosivity in his hands, but he just doesn't connect anymore. And at that age, he doesn't have the reflexes to stop the onslaught from these young up and comers. You saw what Imavov did to him with a round 4 TKO. Kyle Brahayo gets a decision over him. I mean, dominant decision at that. I think it's Rodrigues' fight to lose. I'm rambling. I'm going on and on. How do you see this fight? I want to know. How do you think this fight's going down?
I mean, Robocop's coming in off on a 2-fight win streak himself, like you said. The Gorilla Killa, as he calls himself, is coming in on a 2-fight losing streak. I don't see, and plus coming in at 40 years old, and I personally don't think he has the gas tank that you're talking about. I think Cannonier's gas tank is kind of weakened out, and I think that's the only way he must stay in this fight is to stay up and stay off the ground because RoboCop has the ground advantage here. He's a grappling master, and once he gets to hold you, like you said, he doesn't have the reach, but once he gets a hold of you, he's gonna have you, and he can take you to the ground. He's got a really good takedown advantage. Um, averages about 3 a fight within 15 minutes. And when he's got you, he's got a really good advantage. And he's also got a pretty good strike clip. You know, he gets some good strikes, and he's probably like 60% on his SIGs. So I like RoboCop here. I think Cannonier is on his way out. I mean, like you said, they've been trying to push him and push him and push him, and it just hasn't worked out. And he's got one more main event in him, and it's just I think this one maybe ends in the second round. I don't see it maybe finishing at all. Just depending on how RoboCop takes us at the beginning. If he wants to try and tire him out early, if not, then it might just go to a decision at the end.
Yeah, I think round 1, round 2 is a good call. Like under 2.5 would be a good call in this one, I think. But if Cannonier is going to win it, it's going to go to decision, or he's going to one shot. I don't think he's going to get him early. But we'll have to see. We'll move on to the co-main event with Calvin Kattar versus Yousseff Zelal. How do you see this one going down, Cody?
I think Yousseff Zelal is going to dominate this. I think he's one of the up and comers that are going to be that could potentially contend for a title in the next 4 fights, maybe if he stays on this track. I mean, he's 16-5-1. He had the no decision draw that it could have went his way if you really want to go back and watch the tape. But I mean, we got some questionable judges out here sometimes, and that's all right though. That's what keeps UFC interesting. He's not really like he's technical, man. He's really special because he doesn't average a lot of 6 strikes, per minute. He averages about 2, maybe 3 per minute at like a 58% clip. So he's not striking a whole ton, but he also has really good takedowns. So he can control you on the ground. He's got some good ground game, but he's quicker, he's sharper, and he's got more power in his strikes though in this fight. And I think that Calvin Kattar, I mean, coming in, he's gritty. He's really fucking gritty. He's going to take you all the way to the end. He's got a good chin. I think he's got a really good chin. I think he can hold his own in this fight.
Real quick, I just want to Calvin Kattar.
Calvin Kattar, yeah. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to. I didn't want you to repeat it. And
Kattar. Did I say Kattar?
Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes and I spelled his name wrong almost. It's just my sloppy handwriting. But no, he's gritty as hell though, and he's got a chin, and he reminds me almost like he's got that street-esque to him when he's fighting and shit. But I think at the end of the day though, I think Youssef's going to come away with the dub here. I think he's the better fighter at the end of the day. I mean, at the odds say it itself.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. The odds say Zalal's the better fighter. I mean, they got him as like minus 480 or something crazy like that.
yeah, Calvin Cattier's he's coming in. He's got, what is he, on a 3-fight losing streak? But 2 fights ago, he had that bad knee injury
Right.
mid fight, and that just changes your trajectory anywhere, like in the UFC, And it's unfortunate that shit happened to him because he was on it. He was an up and comer. I mean, shit, he's got 23 wins.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
it's just unfortunate.
he was an up and comer. He was on a really good tear there for a while. He had a really good fight with Zabit Magomed Sharapov before he lost that one, but it was a good fight. And then he went up against Max Holloway. Holloway just dogged him. Holloway dogged everybody. So then he beats Giga Chikadze, loses
Mm-hmm.
against 3 top contenders. Arnold Allen, you mentioned the knee injury.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah, and then he loses to Aljamain Sterling as well. So he's 1-4 in his last 5. He's not looking great lately, but he does have great boxing, and he is a veteran. He might be able to keep it together. You look at what he did to Giga Chikadze a few years ago. If he can repeat that kind of performance and just keep it at boxing range, keep him from shooting the takedowns. The problem is Zalal, unorthodox on the feet. I shouldn't even say unorthodox. He throws technically sound strikes, but he's unpredictable. He'll be moving in with a 1-2 and throw a knee straight to the head, right inside. He's got weird combinations that you don't see coming. He's got good trips when he's got you on the ground. He's got good wrestling, good control. His submission game's nasty. He's got a bunch of submissions, a bunch of TKOs. Like you said, he's an up and comer, a guy that could fight for the title. He fought Ilia Topuria, lost that fight, but it was early in both their careers. He's a guy. If you look at his Billy Cortillo fight, it started off kind of even at the beginning, but once he figured Quarantillo out, he's taking him down. He's getting submission attempts. He's getting ground and pound. He's dogging him on the feet, beating him up, gets him down again, and gets a submission. He's nasty everywhere. He's deadly. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's one of these next generation MMA guys who sometimes do get taken out by these vets like Calvin Kattar. But I don't think that we're going to see Zalal taken out in this. I think it's his time. I think Kattar's kind of on his way out. I like what you said. He's got that street-esque to him. He's from the New England Mafia. He's nasty. He's gritty. He's going to take some damage, but he's been through some wars. His body's taking some damage as well. His knees aren't the same. The takedowns are going to be rough for him to defend. Zalal's going to be his match on the feet if he doesn't keep it at boxing range. He keeps it at kickboxing, which Zalal is very good at doing. So I'm with you here all the way. I think Zalal, he can move into the top 5 by the end of the year after beating Kattar and one more guy possibly. So I think we're on the same page there. What do you think about Edmund Shabazian versus Dylan Budka? You had some strong words coming into this one.
I have in my notes on the far right, I mean, not much here because I don't think Dylan Budka is very good. I mean, to be honest with you, he's lost his last few fights in very unconvincing fashions. He could strike. He's every fighter can strike, but his takedown defense is terrible. He averages 1 strike a minute landed. I mean, he's not throwing them very hard. He's just a jab. He's technical. He's not. I don't think he's very. I don't think he's very talented. But I think Edmund Shabazz. Say it again. Shabazm. I just think he's the more talented fighter here. Doing the research, I haven't watched much tape on him. Just going to be honest with you. But doing my research and looking at the fight history and seeing who he's fought, I think he's the better fighter here. He's coming off the loss against Gerald
Mearshart.
Mearshart. That's who it is, by submission. But I mean, the dude was a former top prospect, and once they figured out he's not very good defensively, that's what he just that's what cost him. But I mean, the dude can strike. The dude has freaking offensive power and everything like that, which Dylan Budka cannot defend. And I just think this just favors him in that a lot, just in this matchup. And I think this is just an easy back on track win for him to try and catapult himself into the prospect he should be.
Yeah, I see this fight going down. Just honestly, I think he's going to club Dylan Budka. Budka could fire back with a little check hook or a check right hand in the center, and catch Shabazian because, like you said, his defense is bad. He used to be a prospect. He was Ronda Rousey's guy, but he's just not panned out to what everybody thought he was. He fought Derek Brunson. He fought a couple wrestlers. They dominated him, showed him out. He has bad wrestling defense. Budkill might be able to expose that, but he doesn't have really good wrestling.
But,
So,
but Bud just doesn't throw the strikes that like like he
like you
should,
said,
you know.
he doesn't explode when he should. Yeah. But against Shabazian, a guy who kind of is a glass cannon, hits hard but can be knocked out, maybe he will. I'm not saying that.
He could gain the confidence. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's gonna win, but Shabazian, he's a guy that is very inconsistent. Loses against guys you think he's gonna smoke, and beats guys that you're like, maybe this is the next guy, and then he goes out and loses to Gerald Meerschaert, which I called that fight. I said he's gonna beat up Meerschaert for 2 rounds. Meerschaert's gonna take his back, submit him. Boom. Happened. I mean, that's Meerschaert's game. That's Shabazian's game. Both of them just like to gas out. So, with that, we'll move on to the next fight. We got Gabriel Bonfim Israel Bonfim taking on Sadikov.
Are you talking about Nazim Sedikov?
Nazim Sadikov. Yes, thank you.
Good man. Good fight. Good fight.
So, Bonfim has nasty chokes. He's got good striking. He's unorthodox, like Yousseff Zelal. He's kind of that next generation type fighter. He's 16-1 coming into this. Great fighter. Super hyped by the UFC. Nazim Sadikov, dude's nasty. He's got good wrestling. He's got knockout power. He can submit you. And Bonfim, just like his brother, kind of a 1-2 round kind of fighter. If he doesn't get you out of there, he only has one loss, but against Nicholas Dalby grinded him out. We could see Sadikov wrestle Bonfim and kind of dominate him for 3 rounds. That's not something that's out of the realm of possibilities. Or he might get beat up for the first round. If he survives that onslaught, he could get out of there and kind of just dog on him the next 2 rounds. But the problem is shooting those takedowns against Bonfim. Both of them guillotine artists. They have nasty guillotines, and when they lock it up, they finish it. So he's a favorite for a reason. I like Bonfim in this. I almost did a parlay with the Bonfim brothers, but I like Khaos Williams too much. So what do you think about this fight? How do you think Sadikov and Bonfim match up?
I think this is a pretty good matchup. I mean, Bonfim hasn't lost in the last 11 years, other than one time. I mean, it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do, and it was to Benoit Saint Denis by a freaking submission. So, I mean, if we could take that out of there, it's. I mean, he's looked unreal over the last like 10 years in this division. I mean, he's looked really, really good. But also, we can't dismiss Nazim Sadikov because yeah, his last fight was a draw, and he he did struggle against Slava in that fight also, but he got really technical with the leg kicks and got the win by points there. And that's the thing we got to watch because Nazim is a really good wrestler, and just like Bonfim, he's a really good wrestler and he's got a really good ground game. But um, I think we could get a little shaky here. I think that Nazim could maybe take this, but that's just my brain. But my gut and my heart also are a lot more correct in the betting world and things like that. And I just see that Ismail Bafim is just going to walk away with this one personally. I don't think Nazim's got the not the I mean he's got the record, but just I want to say the experience. You know, I guess you could say because Ismail's been around the octagon a lot more, and he's got the experience in these big fights, and he knows how to handle these type of fighters. And
But yeah, he's got a ton of experience under him for being young.
exactly. So I just think for me, I think Ismail Bonfim might get a third round finish in this one. I don't even think it to the gets to the final whistle, to be honest with you.
I could definitely agree that I don't see it going to the final whistle. I think if it's getting finished, though, I think rounds 1 or 2, either guy.
Oh, quick, quick, quick.
But I think Bonfim does kind of gas because he's so explosive. But we'll move on. We're going to go with Andre Petrovsky versus Rodolfo Vieira. I'm super pumped for this fight, so I'll let you go first, and then I'll get into my nonsense with it.
I'm super pumped for this too. Both fighters are coming on 2 fight win streaks. I think Petrovsky's coming in as a underdog for a plus 220 underdog for I don't know why. I don't think he's that. I don't think he should be that high of a dog. I think he should maybe be even money because I think people are looking at this fight the wrong way. People are probably caught up in the records, seeing that Petrosky has 4 losses compared to Vieira's 2. Um, but I think that just doesn't say much compared to what the opponents were and whatnot, who he lost to, because Petrosky didn't lose to scrubs. I mean, the dude is a freaking fighter. I know, granted, last time he won against Dylan Budka, anybody can beat Dylan Budka. But at the same time, he averages almost 4 takedowns a fight, so he can take you to the ground. He's a really good ground fighter. But the thing is, though, Vieira is a really good takedown defender. He averages about an 85% takedown defense rate, so he can freaking hold you down. In that regard, he can hold his own and he can throw his strikes. I mean, he's a very good striker at his own. Um, he throws about, I want to say, 3 to 4 serious good strikes at a good 60 to 70% clip a minute. So I
Yeah.
think he's a pretty damn good fighter in that regard. He can hold his own striking. He's a pretty good grappler of his own. But I just think for me personally, I think Andre Petrosky is coming in with a little momentum in his camp and everything like that, and I just think that he might walk away with this one by a split decision. I think it's going to go the distance, and I think he's probably going to win by a split in my decision.
I think it's going to be close. I think
Absolutely.
I love Petrosky here. So Petrosky, I'm not positive, but I think he's been calling for this fight for years. Coming out of the Ultimate Fighter, this dude's been saying he's the best submission artist in the UFC, and he has backed that up. When he goes and does his submission competitions, he dominates. He gets victories over top guys, ties against some of the best in the world. It's either Craig Jones or Gordon Ryan, I want to say he tied with, just went to a draw, but regardless,
I don't
Rodolfo,
remember.
Rodolfo Vieira, he's a world champion BJJ guy. He's won multiple gold medals, multiple world championships, and he's probably one of the more credentialed grapplers in the UFC. I think Petrosky's going to have the striking advantage here. I think he's going to be able to take Vieira down better. Vieira is great grappler, but he's better off his back than he is or he's better on top than he is off his back. And Petrosky's great on top and off his back. I think that Petrovsky is going to be stronger. Both guys don't have a very good gas tank. They gas after about halfway through the second round. So it could get really sloppy if it goes to the decision. But I think Petrovsky is going to be hunting a submission to prove that he's the best submission artist in the UFC. I like him by finishing this. I like him overall. So plus 220 number, I love it. I love those numbers. So yeah,
I like that we're on the same page with that one.
yes, absolutely. So we will move on to the curtain jerker for the main event. What do you have for this one, Cody? We got I'll let you take it away.
Are you talking about the Jose Delgado versus Connor Matthews fight here?
I'm talking about the Jose Delgado versus Conor Matthews fight here.
I think Jose Delgado's going to walk away with this one, the dog fight, man. I think she
He's a
wants
huge favorite.
she don't want no she don't want no puppy. She wants a big dog. You know what I'm
He's a huge
saying?
favorite.
He's a massive favorite. I think he's just going to walk away with this. I mean,
I'm saying he's like a dog, just like nasty. I thought you were saying,
yeah, no, like she don't want no puppy. She wants a big dog. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? He's
yeah.
a dude.
It's
Dude. Jose Delgado's nasty.
he is. He's got it. He's what 8-1 with or 6-1. No, 8-1
I
with
mean, he's 8-1, brother.
8-1.
And dude,
Four
he
knockouts,
averages,
four
dude,
submissions.
and he's taking you to the ground almost every second of the fight, dude. He averages 7 takedowns every 15 minutes.
One of these top
He,
Dana White contender series guys. It's good to see him put on the main card, even if it's an Apex event. It's going to be fun. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a pretty easy fight for him. Connor Matthews is a fun guy. He's a good striker. Has a good submission game as well. Really good submission game. But
yes, he does.
Delgado is just he's nasty. He could get caught in a guillotine. I don't think we're going to see triangle or anything crazy like that because that we just don't see that as often anymore. But yeah, I like Delgado in this as well. We can kind of jump on this one together.
Yeah, because Connor Matthews, I mean, he's a specialist. That's just what he is. But I mean, he lost his last fight against Buzet Buzuka, I think his name is, but his first name's Dennis.
Dennis Bazooka.
Dennis Bazooka. Okay, that's what it was. That J just always gets me off. But because when we watched that fight, his defense failed him, and once you see the tape on it, and it's out there, it's just easy to execute. You're going up against somebody like Jose Delgado, and it's just
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say
just don't I don't
Delgado's
think
just
you're looking at a good rebound fight right here, Bob.
you got to have defense up 100% of the time against Delgado because he's going to be coming at you. Now, if he can
So,
get it in the later rounds, Delgado, he's not seen the scorecards. He's not won on the scorecard, so that could favor Matthews. But I don't see him surviving that. I don't see it. We could see it, but I don't see it.
I
So
don't either.
that's what we have for the main card breakdown. That's what we got for you there, Cody. We got $1,000 to put up on this card. You're currently at 549 year to date on our last two cards. You're down big overall, but you're up positive. You're just down on me. I'm up 1365. How do you got these bets going? How are you re how are you claiming this lead over me this week?
I think I'm about to pull the Wendy's faux for faux. I'm gonna go 4 for 4 on my bets this week.
Let's hear it.
Just like how we talked a few seconds ago, I got Petrosky money line at plus 220. I'm gonna throw $200 on that to win 392. So the total would be 592 there. The next one's gonna be Delgado by KO or TKO, and that's gonna be at 185 plus 185.
Okay.
That those are insane odds, and I'm gonna throw 300 on that, and I'm gonna total out at 550, 855 for the win on that one.
Love it. Love that pick.
I love, dude. The odds are insane on some of these just by decision and by way they're gonna win. Ismail Bonfim by points. I think he can pull this one away. I think if this one's going to go the distance. I think both fighters are very technical fighters. But I think Bonfim's going to get this by the points at plus 140. I got 300 on that to win 720.
All right, you're going big this week.
I'm trying to catch up to you, big dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way you can do it.
I
If
hear
you
you.
can find these good odds and just beat the books.
I hear you.
And then I got a safe one here. I got Robocop money line at minus 245. I'm gonna throw 200 on it to finish off the 1,000 to walk away with 281.
Okay.
That way I can just maybe buy myself some dinner if I lose everything.
Yeah, love it. So I'm gonna start with the main card and go down for me. I got Rodrigues, 300 on him, gets us a 433 back for me. I was on DraftKings here. Then I go down to Yousseff Zelal, got 400 on him, only gets 485 back, but I'm very confident in him. So big bet to not win a lot, but it's safe. I'm doing good. $85 is $85. Then
Mm-hmm.
$50 on Dontel Mays on the prelims against Walter Walker. I think Walter Walker is kind of dog poop. He's the brother of Johnny Walker. He's a grappler, but he's only beat Tafa brother and one other guy by a controversial fight, to say the least. I think Dontel Mays is just more athletic, and he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns and kind of beat Walter Walker up. He's going to be better on the feet. So $50
I like that.
gets us 147. Andre Petrosky, even though he's American, I love the name. I got 150 on him. I'm with you. I'm going money line. 150 gets us 487 back on DraftKings at the plus 225 odds. And then I got $100 on Khaos Williams. I think he's getting the knockout, but I just went with him money line just to be safe. $100 gets us 280 overall. Gabriel Bonfim, I misspoke earlier. He's the worst of the Bonfim brothers. He's 16-4 or 18-4, I think. He's lost a few fights. So I think Khaos is going to catch him. I think that Bonfim's going to come in, try to get wild, try to get crazy, and Khaos is going to catch him with a hook, knock him out. I think it's going to be a check hook
I
that
like that pick a lot.
sleeps him, but I don't know what round, and I don't want to go in under, and I don't want to call it because I also think Khaos does have the better gas tank, and if it goes into later rounds, I think Khaos gets the win. So that's what I got there. So we got 433 profit for Rodrigues, or total for Rodrigues, 485 Zelal, 147 Dontel Mays, Petrovsky 487, 280 for Khaos Williams. So I don't have the opportunity to make as much as you, but I also put a bunch of money on the dogs. I put 400 on the dogs. I think 300 on the dogs. Not a
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, as long as you just slowly climb that ladder. I mean, it's a big gap for me to climb. But I mean, I'm willing to take my bets here against them all. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying, brother?
and it's been a hell of a time. It's been a hell of a time having you on here, Cody, and thank you for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Cody, like I said, love having you on here. Midweek shirts. We're making our picks. I love this head-to-head action we're doing.
I love this myself, man. This is a lot of fun, man. Thank you for having me on, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely. And everybody, again, thank you for tuning in. This has been Matt with Blood and Beer. I'm signing off. Subscribe to me, motherfucker.